Interesting. And
Yeah.
how much was that coffee? I'm curious because, we drink a lot of coffee,
Yeah.
tea, coffee for you, and we like to frequent the coffee shops for work and to just have a casual place to hang out and chill and enjoy your beverage. But I feel like it's getting more expensive.
It is.
Yeah.
Dude, it definitely is. I mean, I don't even know if I want to admit this, right? Like probably on a pretty frequent basis, I'm paying 12 plus dollars for like a coffee, like,
Mm,
an iced dirty chai or, something like that.
yeah.
Um, yeah, $12, sometimes like $14.
Sheesh, dude.
Yeah.
$15 for freaking
And it's because like
beans and water?
I know this is terrible, but it's because I'm like sometimes just not really paying attention, and because you're not expecting that, right?
Yeah.
It's such a routine of like getting a coffee. You go in, you order your coffee, you just tap your phone, and then it's like, wait, what did that say? And then you kind of walk away dumbfounded, like, okay, I paid what $14 plus a $2 tip. I paid $16 for this coffee. It's like,
Yeah.
wait a second,
Right.
what's happening?
It is, yeah. It kind of catches me off guard every now and then because I don't know about you, but I don't really focus too heavily on the price of the things that I'm usually consuming. Coffee, stuff at the grocery store. And for no particular reason, I just kind of started taking just an extra second, another look at the iPad as you're going to swipe or pay for your coffee. And I was at the coffee shop today and I looked down and it was $7 and change after tip. Actually, it was $8 after tip for an iced green tea, which is my drink of choice.
Yeah, that's wild.
And it's literally water and a bag of tea, and you don't do anything else to it. You pour it over ice and you put it in a cup.
Yeah,
Why is it $8?
yeah,
And it's across the board. I was actually at Kroger last night. I went to Kroger to buy some groceries to make dinner. And I usually buy the same things because I'm used to kind of meal prepping and having the same ingredients. And I definitely noticed that things were a dollar or two more just across the board. Like everything that I was buying was more expensive. And it's not a thing that I dwell on too much, but am taking more of a notice of it now, partially to just be aware of it, but also to kind of plan for what may be kind of coming down the pipe. Like we hear that things are becoming more expensive and, there's tariffs and all this kind of stuff. A lot of it I don't pay attention to because for me, in my experience, diving headfirst into things that don't directly affect you cause you unnecessary stress.
yeah.
But this is one of those things that is directly affecting lots of people. And yeah, just being aware of it is like, it's a bummer. It's
It
like,
is.
I thought we could make it through, or thought I would be able to make it through without too much of an impact. And it's slowly making its way into my goings on.
It is frustrating, man, because I've experienced it's not just coffee. Like even when I was grocery shopping, I was looking at frozen pizzas,
Mm,
and like 5 years ago, man, you get a frozen pizza for, $6, $7,
yeah,
$8, and sure, maybe it's not like the best. But at least it was an option, right?
right.
And dude, you could even get some frozen pizzas for like $2.99 if you really wanted to, like a couple bucks, right?
Yeah.
I'm in Kroger, so it's not like I'm in one of the other. It's not like I'm in Whole Foods or something at Kroger, and like the cheapest frozen pizza is like $11.
Mm.
It's like, what is happening? What is going on, man?
That's so $11 probably, plus change, plus tax. You're looking 13, $14
Yeah,
maybe. So 13, $14. I will never forget this because I think back to when I was younger, my mom and our family, we used to order pizza all the time because it was easy to feed three kids with two pizzas, right?
yep,
You get two pizzas from Pizza Hut for 14.99.
yeah,
That was the special.
yeah,
And like I think even like nowadays you can still get like a 12-inch one topping pizza for like $15. But it's cooked and it's delivered to you.
yeah.
A frozen pizza that's $15? Nah.
It's crazy, man, and it's frustrating. Like I could go on a whole tangent. Like our money system is a scam. The whole thing is like rigged for people to lose the game.
Yeah.
And you have to be like educated as much as you can and really pay attention to these details, and it's hard, like I'm guilty of it too. I completely forget to like pay attention to things. I went through my finances at the end of 2023 to, like, look at where, I was spending, and dude, I was, like, horrified,
Yeah, that's
looking at, like, what I was spending on dining and entertainment and, going out to the bars and all this stuff,
yeah,
and it's just like, dude, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's just insane, and it is frustrating, and it's like, I'm lucky because I own a home, but even that's a scam, like, even that's a whole setup too,
right,
whether it's like there's this whole debate back and forth about renting versus owning. They're both insanely difficult, and they both have their drawbacks, like,
right.
there's no clear solution, and our great-grandparents bought a house for, like, $6,000
Yep.
and a car for $800. It's like, what's going
Yeah,
on?
man. Like, there was a period of time where I was considering buying a house a couple years ago, and started getting my ducks in a row, getting some numbers, getting some estimates, getting some prices, and it wasn't until I like really started digging into what you get for what I was like qualified for that I realized like, well, I'm not really prepared to buy what I would ideally want to buy. You know, it's a bummer because like the just a year before I remember looking at houses on Zillow every now and then. I was a renter and I still am, but you look at Zillow, you see some rentals, and then you look at the houses that are for sale. It's like, oh yeah, this neighborhood looks really nice. A house for sale, $125,000. 1,000 square feet, 2 bedrooms, nice little front lawn, perfect. And it's not a shithole. $125,000 isn't even enough to get a house in like Southside that's undeveloped because one, there's all of the developing, the neighborhoods are being improved upon, and there's more housing being built, which is good. It's good that things are being improved upon. But because of that, people are starting to move here in droves. You see all these new apartments and condos. So rent's going up and the home prices are going up. Like I think that to get a good house for somebody like me, 2 bedroom, nice backyard, nice front yard in a decent neighborhood, it's not too far away from where I work, $350,000.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like that's
Yep.
$100,000 more than what I would have been prepared to pay 2 years ago, which is kind of crazy. And now I'm like, to your point, what's the better outcome? Like, what's the better way to go? Knowing that getting into a home you can't afford is worse than not having a home at all. I'm a renter,
Yeah.
but I pay 1,500 and change in rent, and I have a really nice place. And it is 100% going to go up next year. So it's a win, it's a lose lose no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, and that's actually not bad. Like, there's some people like it's just crazy, man. This isn't funny, but I saw a Zillow listing. I came across this online. It was this house for sale up in New England somewhere, and it was at that $125,000 price range, right? And when you looked at the pictures of the house, I'm not kidding, it was literally a murder scene. Like, the Zillow pictures, the crime scene wasn't even cleaned up. The
Jesus.
actual Zillow pictures were of a murder scene. Like, I don't wanna get too like, blood on the walls, like,
Wow.
it was insane. Like, and of course, it went viral for this reason because people are like, "Wait, what?" Because you see a house for that price,
Right.
and you look it up, and it's like, "Are you kidding me? Is this real?"
Dead serious.
Yes, seriously.
It's crazy, man. And I'm the type of person that would look at that. And if I kind of already knew that I was interested in buying something, I like the idea of a fixer upper, like the idea of getting something without a lot of initial investment and then building it up over time. But the scam there is that you kind of can't do that unless you have lots and lots of expendable funds. A fixer upper is a project that you invest in if you have money to invest, not to be, not a project that you also live inside of. I was talking to my stepbrother. He rents. He owned a house in Henrico, and now he lives up in. I think he lives in Shirlington, so he has a condo up there. And he was like, "If you're looking at buying a house, do not buy a fixer upper. The last thing you want to do is be house poor, where you can afford your rent, and you can afford your insurance, and you afforded your down payment, but that was pretty much all the money that you had. And you still need to knock down a wall. You still need to fix the electric. You still need to put a new kitchen in. You still need to redo your backyard. And yeah, you're in the house for 30 years, but do you want to spend 30 years fixing your house? No.
Yeah, it's good advice, I bought my house in 2019 and I did have the cash to renovate it, and I got really lucky with where I found it. Like, the location was all I cared about.
Yeah.
So as soon as I saw a house that was there, I was like, "I don't care. I'll turn it into whatever I want." But that's almost 7 years ago now, and, like, it's wildly different. And they call it a 30-year fixed mortgage. It's not fixed, man. Like, it is not fixed.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting close to my mortgage being almost double. That's a little bit of a stretch, but, like, at least, um, I don't know how you would fraction that out, but it's not quite double, it's less than that, but, like, it's increased, right?
Mm.
And that's because of taxes, and that's because of, um, insurance, right? And we were talking about health insurance the other day. Like, dude, the whole thing is a scheme,
Yeah.
you know? And this happens all over the world, but it definitely happens in this country, and it's happening here in Virginia too, where somehow this structure and this system that we're in is designed to take advantage of the people that live inside of it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that exact thing today. Is like, how did we get to this place where you as a citizen in the city that you were sometimes born in, maybe it wasn't a choice that you live here, but you're born into this community or you moved here, you're dependent on the community for all of your needs and resources, food and water, shelter, entertainment, work. But you need the work. You have to have work to afford the resources that the city can provide you, but you have to pay for them via taxes, your time, and your hard-earned money, which seems a little backwards to me. It's just like, okay, so you're here and you have all this stuff, and I need all this stuff, but you have to work somewhere to afford to be alive. I don't. That's where the conversation always drifts one way or the other. Is like, well, yeah, you got to get your nose to the grindstone, or people advocate for universal base income, which is, there's a larger conversation there, but it's becoming a huge, like sweeping problem across all industries, across all different types of people. Um, I'd be curious to see like what some of our listeners have to say about it because I know personally I have some friends that have been impacted like with drastic rent increases with no notice. Just a letter in the mailbox that says your rent is going up $700. You either pay it or you have to move out. So I'd be curious to know if anybody else that listens to our podcast has stories or testimonials to that
Yeah,
regard.
I would as well. So, we've talked about coffee and rent and groceries and stuff. Surely there are plenty of other things. So, whatever platform you're listening on, please leave us a comment. Drop a comment. You can comment on Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you're listening. And we'd love to hear from you just to so we can continue to wrap our heads around it as well. Because it is an ongoing discussion and there's not a super clear solution.
Yeah. I have one top tip in this vein. So if anyone who's listening or watching finds herself in a position where their income isn't meeting their needs, meaning they don't have quite enough money to sustain their lifestyle, or they're finding themselves out of work suddenly and finances are tight and they can't afford things like food. I just found this out a few weeks ago that Feed More does a food hall or a food kitchen, a free food kitchen at the Jewish Community Center on Monument Avenue near Libby, I believe, every Sunday. So all you have to do is go there every Sunday. I think it starts at 11. It's free. You sign up, they give you a Feed More membership card and you go in with someone, they ask you what you need. And they say, okay, this is what we have based on what you need. And, you tell them how much money you make. You don't have to be honest. You can just be like, I make $0 and they'll give you a box full of food for free.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of people doing that, and it is very much based on like people call it the honor system.
Yeah.
It's like there's obviously people out there doing good and donating and trying to help how they can. And the hope is obviously that people don't take advantage of it. But the people at Feedmore are great. I've worked with them in
Yeah.
the past. Yeah, and it's tough, and take the help where you can get it and when you can get it. And I have my own personal story, which we won't get into today, but I had to fight back from over $250,000 in tax debt starting in 2023, and that's a whole long story. But I know, what it feels like to just be exhausted of like feeling like there's no end in sight. And it's like, when am I going to like just get my head above water? Um, and, I was in a strange backwards roundabout kind of way. I was privileged to even put myself into that position to begin with. And that's a whole thing. But, um, you I know it sounds woo woo, but like you have to be in the mindset that like you can figure it out, right? Cuz like if it is to be, it's up to me, right? And it's like if the solution isn't clear, there's no choice but to like figure it out.
Yeah.
It's like or what? Just roll over and give up and just, complain and, be negative and just, you know, be pessimistic about it all the time. That's the easy thing to do. Um the hard thing to do is to face adversity head on and say, "Okay, I'm in a really difficult situation, but I know that I have what it takes to overcome it." And yeah, maybe the answer isn't clear right away, but you have to put yourself in a position to where you know that you're going to do everything you can to figure it out,
Yeah.
you know?
Easier said than done, but
It is.
it's also still necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, hope that provides, some help, some resources to some people who may be listening that could use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely agree.